All right, so now it's a little bit later. I'm probably gonna talk a little bit more about it now. So I'm just gonna say, basically, what the whole big problem was. If you didn't know, I did attempt suicide on early Thursday morning on September 29th. And there's a whole lot of reasons for it. I'm not gonna list them all like specifically. Like I'm not gonna list like all the information in it. Oh, the generator back on. I thought I was gonna shut off so I could talk easier, but I got a loud yell. So anyway, I'm just gonna list off basically family problems. Uh, just trying to be heard. With the world, social problems, all that stuff. Health problems. With my being sick and thinking I had some diseases, which turned out now I don't think they're true. All of them at least. Oh, sorry. But it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to cover. I'll probably find another reason that I'm not covering right now either. But oh yeah, just drama too sometimes. It's a little bit of drama too, not to the big extent. School problems. That's what I was really covering, and other things. So if you didn't know, my family is a little bit weird, and it kind of links up with the social problem kind of thing. I'm somebody who obviously is very soft-spoken. Like, I have a soft voice. Everybody's been saying I get it. And I get what people tell me all the time. Like, I get it, okay? I got a baby face. I get it. You don't need to tell me. Like, I know. But, I mean, I don't care if you want to, cuddle it. But, like, when it gets to the point where you're not going to listen to what I say because you're so distracted by those two things, that's really where, like, I get frustrated. And that's where where I've been get angry. Because I get angry when people only see that and don't want to listen to what I gotta say. So, God. My dad's a perfect example, and I don't mean to bash him, but most of you by now probably know, that know me, know that, I don't really get along much with my dad. I used to actually get along probably better than my mom in many cases because he was the only one at home. But there were times when he would, beat me. I'll get my ass whooped. Sometimes almost immediately, where I'd be stripped and whooped actually right out here in the backyard. In many cases because I mostly lived here in Vegas, my life mostly. So yeah, all of us kids were spanked. Probably me the most. I probably got a lot of the punishment because I'm the oldest and I am, male. I'm a guy. So, those two things, especially also just being, their kid, they probably wanted to put their ideas. My mom and dad wanted to put, dreams on me and all. And my sister Kelly kind of got it too a little bit, but I guess it didn't affect her as much, I guess. I don't know. I don't know about Katie. But my grandfather, I used to kind of turn in because most of my other grandparents kind of just died by the time I was 12. So my grandfather was kind of like my rock as well, and my mom was too. And he would be like the one I would usually find comfort in. Like whenever we went to Arizona, because as you know, he lived in Tucson, Arizona. He's the Polish grandfather. I miss him. I'm telling you, when I tell you I cried a lot when I was trying to commit suicide, I haven't cried that much since my grandfather died. And that was like in the middle of like the second wave of COVID, I think. So like the very end of 2020, beginning of 2021 a little bit, right when I was 17, hitting 18. I miss him, and I think all that stuff, just, dwelling on it, not realizing that, my childhood, my ending teenhood, it's going to be gone. My teenhood's going to be over, by February because I'm in my 20s now, right? So full on, 20s. Not realizing that those were perfect. I think it kind of just struck. It hit me, and not realizing like I didn't really have like the father figure that I think I wanted to have, I guess, or just something that I thought I needed. And I was getting mad about that. The mom figure, she was always at, work, American Airlines or Expedia, doing the airline stuff or something like that. So she was always busy. Um, I respect, my family. I respect, my mom had me, right after 9/11. She was dealing with a lot, in the company AA. As you know, they were very badly hurt at that time. So she was a 9/11 hero, making sure all those families of those planes, got their names and stuff. And she was carrying me at that time, 2002, my dad, getting involved, in the sheriff. I don't know exactly all about his story. I just know that, he was the sheriff, in LA for a while, or well known, or sergeant, or some high ranking, well known within LA. But, I guess wanting me to kind of have that kind of life too, and me kind of just wanting to go to a different life, it's kept me depressed, this time. Social problems. You guys already know, I'm for like the youth vote, so making sure all, young adults, 16 older can vote. LGBT rights now, especially, now that I'm public about this stuff, because I see more stuff going on this year than ever. Since 2020, though, I've been more vocal. 2019, 2018, I've always been vocal about it. But just anything going on, racism, sexism. Hearing about, anti-Muslim, stuff going on, Islamophobia, anti-Jewish stuff, anti-Semitism, and seeing like people die over the fact that they can't control these things that you can't change. You can't change, your sexuality. You can't change your race. You can't change your ethnicity. I mean, like, I remember, like, wishing to be this, like, whitest, because I knew that back in middle school, I would always get, like, these hateful jokes every time, like, I even said I was just Polish. Because, it was always a Holocaust joke somewhere else, or some murder joke or something. And when I found out, at 14 that we were Jewish, from my grandfather, the little family secret there, it didn't help. Because I wanted to be vocal, I wanted to be proud of this stuff, but, people are mean. So, being Catholic didn't really help either, because it was like people like say, oh, that stuff's impossible, you can't be both. Not realizing that it's a heritage and not just, not just a religion, the Jewish side, and that the Catholic is what I was raised to be, so I'm still Catholic too. My dad's side is mostly stable. Sorry if I'm connecting the family and the social problems. I just think they really, really add up to each other. My dad's side, the Irish side, the family, my mom's side, so like the Polish side. Keep on confusing that word too. I don't speak well either. Always annoyed me too. Health problem probably goes to that. But my dad's side, they were better well off. I mean, as you know, like your Fleming cousins, you probably had problems too, but you seem to be fine, and I can talk to you guys, and I think I was closer to them after my grandmother died on my mom's side. Before then, I was closer, I think, to my mom's side, because everybody kind of just wanted to go to Arizona from LA, because before both of my parents were from LA. But afterwards we went back to LA, spent most of the time with them. And that's really, why Andrew's death hurting me, and all that, because I was close with all of them. After my grandma died, we kind of moved kind of more into like just this weird thing with my grandfather, who kind of raised me. My mom's parents kind of helped raise us when we were little, until my grandma caught cancer, died and all that. My mom's side, though, speaking of, because although my dad's side didn't have, I don't think, as much of like the issues, my mom's side was pretty, there was a lot of stuff, and I think I got myself involved at a very young age because I was like 5 years old when my grandma died, and not realizing why certain family members were not allowed to see us and why some were. I think I was just like, I used to get really mad, I used to get really pissed off at stuff, and I was just, why can't they see me, there was a lot of stuff that happened more on that side. I mean, people were addicted to certain things, coke and stuff. Some people had, disabilities. Like my uncle, who died about 4 years ago, had like a mental disability that was never, said, but they never diagnosed anything. My mom thought it was just a cancer in the brain that killed him, but he had something going on, I think. And plus, there's family secrets on that side I'm not gonna talk about right now, but I have always like wanted to know like those answers. And the problem is, everybody that I would talk, my grandfather, Grandpa Frank, he would probably say the most, but he didn't even know, because my grandma didn't even talk about anything that happened, because she was just like, I don't want to talk about this stuff. I don't want to, because it really was mostly about her and like my uncles and my aunts and it. So it was kind of sad. I wish I like was able to know them more, but because there was so much stuff where people were not allowed to visit and all that stuff, I don't know, took a toll. And just recently now we're able to. The Shane, I'm not talking about the Shanings, I'm just talking about my first cousins. There's a big family over there too, though. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. That stuff hurt me a lot, because it's just like I wanted to know the answers, and you always get like all these different sides of the story. Everybody had their own story about what went on, about everything. And then when my grandma died, it was more drama, and it affected my mental health, because I just wanted to know. And I was told from a young age about these family secrets, so, but I didn't really realize that it was something that you just don't talk about until like later on. And yeah. But it's funny, I went to get medium readings, and they were, I guess from what they said, my grandma was saying the same thing, just stop talking about it. But it's just like, that's one of my OCD things. It's just like, I want to know like why everybody was so, why there was so much like distance between everybody, why there was like so much, don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person with this. And I think we're all getting connected, we're kind of forgetting about it now, but it's just like, why? And I don't want to talk about this stuff. I haven't even mentioned what the secret is. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just saying, like, it was a lot of stuff. It was like kind of more than one secret too. I did on the school assignment once, college freshman year. I miss everybody on my side, but we're happy now, but still. I think it was just the stress of just doing that, and the fact that some stuff is still going on that side, because we still got like kind of like tearing down problems, and it's just like we can't fix them, because it's almost like, not, I don't want to say too late, but it might be too late, and that's the saddest part. But my almost 15 minutes now. There's a lot more stuff. I mean, health problems. There were certain things that I did not know whether I had or not. I'm still finding out to see if I have them too, some of them. I had to get surgeries and stuff, so I have stitches I need to get taken out to check for, certain uh, diseases too, still. So I'm waiting on that too. That stuff, I'm not, I guess, as bothered anymore. But, and then just my mental health problems as well. Everybody knows about my OCD. Everybody knows about that stuff. Anyway, let me just get to another thing. Speaking of the social problems, I'm going to go back to the social problems. I'm going to be jumping back and forth. One of those things that I was also big on was, mental health. Or just treating people who were seen as lesser, like, not capability-wise, but like ableism. Fighting ableism, which is also another type of discrimination. And ageism, too, and all that. And what I've had to deal with since attempting suicide that Thursday, the 29th of September, I think I see it even more. It just helps confirm it, because I knew it was already bad, but the way I saw some people being treated at the places that I was at, it like broke me. It made me sad. And I also have realized I have friends, because I was talking to some friends right afterwards from my high school and my college, both who kind of went with me, kind of just stay with me in the same class of 25, and they were at some of the same places and said the same stuff that went on. And so I'm going to be talking about that stuff. I'm going to be just getting what I want out in this like long video. And here, so I'm just going to tell the story now. So it's actually Tuesday. I was really like a week, like since September 14th, my health was going low. I was already feeling like so more depressed than I ever was, and I was just like, with all the health stuff going on, it was like even worse. But by like the 21st, I think that was the Tuesday, I want to say. No, the 28th. Sorry, I'm getting my stuff mixed up. By the 28th, 27th, I had already kind of like had set plans. I was down to already creating like a funeral like plan, like just what I wanted to have, like a message, because the thing was, I was frustrated about not being heard, or at least not being listened to, at least not being able to speak up. And it wasn't necessarily the people, some people, I'm glad that many people were, but like the people like my dad and all, like I wasn't able to get the message to. It was frustrating to me. The therapist told me, some of these treatments already, it doesn't matter anymore because they're not going to listen. But here to get it out anyway. So that Tuesday evening, I remember my dad showed me my baby shoes from 2002, little Air Forces. And I was just thinking, should I really go ahead with this? Because I was having those thoughts for at least those weeks, And I went downstairs. My sisters were kind of going back and forth from the room. Kelly was finishing up some kind of schoolwork, and Katie was doing something, I don't remember. But I snuck a laxative, and I took a laxative, one laxative pill. And then that next morning, I went to school like normal, and it was a little bit painful. Like it hurt like a little bit in my stomach, It was not comfortable. But I went to school, still, had a regular day. But then I kind of like had to realize, that's what the laxative did. Because I was planning on actually taking everything that night, but then I was just like, no, I can't do this. I'm too scared to do it. Because it takes, I'm telling you right now, to have like you cannot, it takes a lot. I'm telling you, it takes a lot to really go ahead with the plan to commit suicide, to really want to kill yourself. It takes a lot, because most of the time you're able to like kind of be a little bit scared over this stuff, but to really go ahead with it, it takes a lot. That's all I'm going to say. So by Wednesday, evening, that night, I had my last meal. It was like a pizza and all that. Um, I finished up the letter and I finished up my website, submitted that website that I finally got done. You probably saw that link already. Probably some of you've already looked at it on my social media, my Instagram, my Facebook, all the pictures and all that. I wanted you guys to see that in my, links. But I finished up the letter and I submitted the goodbye letter to my mom and my sisters, which had like the funeral plan and just telling them, certain things like, sexual assault that happened with me and just different things, and just wishing like the babies, Morgan, Alice, and, Parker or Jimmy. I don't know what they're going to call him from now on, but it's the newborn in the family, what they're going to do with him. And just saying thank you to like all my cousins, and just saying, and all the cats, my sister's cats, Lucy and Haley, the little kids. I went forward. I was crying, those whole times. I cannot tell you. I know I don't seem like somebody that cries, but I'm not gonna lie now. It was difficult, and I hate saying it now, but I was crying hard. Every single time I was thinking about it, I was terrified. Even Tuesday night, every time I left the room with my sisters and my dad, my mom was sick, sleeping. That was also another family problem I forgot to mention. My mom was sick this whole year, since January, as you know. She couldn't get up. She's been sick for years now, though, with this stuff with her knee and her back and all this stuff. Probably even worse than my grandfather. My grandfather could move around easier than my mom. He died at 94. He was 93 for the most part that we saw him. My mom's just turned 65. So she was like 63, 62 when, So it tells you a lot about what happened, but I was crying the whole time. And I can tell you, I was not crying that much since Grandpa died, basically. And before then, or when I just cry in my room from a mental breakdown, and I just do it, or when it's like in front of my parents, because last time before that was those OCD meltdowns in 2019, 2020, 2021. I broke down a little bit too, but the pain from it, just like being scared about it, because it's like you think that it's the best way to get, your voice out there and what you're trying to say out there. Because I was thinking it was like this like hero action, because you hear about people that like suffragettes or other protesters and activists that get killed, or they sacrifice, or they do something like they go out there knowing either they're probably gonna die or something, and they become like a hero. And I thought maybe like that might tell people change these rules, but obviously I'm here. Anyway, back to the story. So I had my last meal, Wednesday evening. I finished up all this stuff. I think by midnight, I just took a shower again. I was wearing I was just shirtless, kind of like how I am now, because I'm outside, The dog tag chain I have right here, the chain. I was not wearing these trunks. I was wearing the black basketball shorts with the zebra on them, if you guys know, those who know me. I was wearing flip-flops too, but I took them off eventually, and I had a do-rag that I rolled the long flap. I rolled it in, like the new way of doing it, the rolling in way, because my hair's, buzz cut right now, pretty much, so you can't do much. So I was just like, have me just be buried in that open casket. I was dead ass doing that. I was dead ass planning everything down to what I would be wearing. Basically just that. So practically just naked in the casket. I don't know why. And then afterwards, I think it was about 1 o'clock when I really was ready, and I went into my mom's bedroom downstairs, because my room's upstairs. I went downstairs. I went upstairs, downstairs quite a bit, but By this time, I finished my last drink of orange juice. I love orange juice. And then I went to my mom's room and I just said happy birthday. Because her birthday is October 1st. And I did not think I would make it to that day, to be honest, by my plan, which I'm about to tell you. So afterwards, I took out the pills I was going to take, and most of them had my mom's name on it, except for the one that was probably the deadliest. So I took out the morphines, which there were about 20 of them in the little box, 2 oxycodones that were in a box, in a little, pill box. Something that I don't remember the name of, but I took a lot of them. I took out the laxatives, and then, which I took the first. I took those first, by the way. I didn't take much of them, but I did that to get me warmed up. And last but not, and I took an allergy pill. I took that halfway through to kind of just get me calmed down too. So my last allergy pill, because I did have allergy pills, but I wasn't taking them at the time. And then the one thing that you guys are probably wondering about, Tylenol. I took the most of those, and I took those last too. So this was I started taking those pills between 120, I think I finished around 140, 125. I finished around 145, I think 140, and I wrote it down on the paper where kind of about the times. I think I wrote 130, and I said I did not want to do it because I did not want to do this. And I was crying every single time I swallowed a pill. I started with the laxatives, and I was just crying because I was looking at myself, and I'm just thinking, there's no turning back after this. Because I really thought that either I was going to die that night or I was going to die the next few days by how much I was taking, because I thought it would be through my system, by those few hours. Because it took a while to find me unconscious. Afterwards, I went for the other pills. The morphine was to kind of make me feel asleep so I wouldn't feel anything at first, because I wasn't ready to feel anything. I did not want to feel the pain on the Tylenol. I did not. And then the Tylenol was really when I really started crying really bad, because I was just like, holy shit. I'm taking, I'm taking the poison. I'm basically poisoning myself. And I took, I think, about 50 of those. They said about 200 of those Tylenols, but I think about technically more around 50 to 60 of those Tylenols. But they said they thought it was around more 200, but I don't know. But anyway, maybe they were just talking about pills in total. But I was crying so bad. And the whole time I was like, I'm not trying to do this to hurt anyone. I'm doing this to get what I'm trying to get out of it. Which was, what I was trying to talk about. The message. And when I was done, I put on a jacket because it was cold, because I was doing this, pretty much, shirtless the whole time. I didn't barely have anything on me. I was pretty much naked for the most part. So it was cold, so I took a jacket. I had everything except for the shorts, the zebra shorts, of course. Like I said, and the chain and the head wrap. I went to the couch. This is the birthday gift I got from my best friend Gracia when I turned 17 for my 17th birthday. I hugged this on the couch in the living room, and I started crying so hard, and I just tried to go to sleep. I curled up in the couch, took off my flip-flops, and I curled up on the couch, and I went to sleep. And it took a while for me to go to sleep, and the whole time I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please let this be quick. Please let this be quick. And I was just curling up. Like, please let this be quick. Please. I don't want to feel anything from this. And if there's anything after this, I want to see my grandparents first. I want to see Andrew. I want to see my Aunt Lois. I want to see everybody that, wanting to see for a long time that I couldn't see. My Uncle Bob, all those people I wanted to see, again. And it took me a long time, I think, to fall asleep. It felt forever at least. But I thought, I was gonna die. And then I think the next thing I heard eventually were people kind of like soft, kind of voices, but almost like yelling too. And I felt really cold, and I felt like I was kind of being like tugged over, and I think I felt like my jacket was already off. So it was like, what? Everything's off of me again. I was still curled up. I don't know if I think the dog was off of me. And then I eventually started making sounds, and then they're like, buddy. I heard a buddy, wake up for me, buddy. And then all of a sudden these people, and I was later told it was a bunch of police and a bunch of ambulance, people, the paramedics that were in the room. A lot of just dudes, probably like 20-somethings or 30-something, And then they were just like, buddy, you're going to be okay. And then I just start like crying again. I didn't even know my dad was in the room because I was like just focused on the cops. And I was awake. I was fully awake. And I just started screaming, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for doing this to everybody. I'm sorry. And it was like high-pitched, like almost like cries, And then I started crying like almost high-pitched, but not like screaming, but like yelling, almost like crying. I was just like, I don't want to do this to anybody. I don't want to do this to anybody. And they're like, it's okay. It's okay. Can you walk? And I'm like, I think so. I think I can walk. Let me try it. And then stretcher. And they're like, I want you to try to walk to the stretcher so we know you're awake. And so I walked. And I think this was probably about 6 o'clock. They said, no, 5 o'clock, 5:30. The police report was filed and all that stuff too at the same time. And I walked over. I was barefoot, I guess. I'm not even usually barefoot in the house. I'm not even usually shirtless in the house. Even in my pajamas, like I always usually wear socks or something because of my OCD. I always had OCD. Like even since Tucson, I was wearing socks, in LA, socks. But, I was barefoot this time for good in the house, on the carpet and all, and I just got myself on the stretcher. And I think I blacked out again because I was blacked out the first time unconscious, and I think I fell unconscious the second time. And they were just saying, it's okay. And I was just kind of crying the whole time. Because I was just like, my God. How the hell did I make it? How the hell did I make it? And then after I blacked out again, I guess I had an IV. And I guess my mom got out afterwards to find out the news. And the next thing I know that I was in the emergency room. And I woke up like vomiting a lot, because I guess the medicine they did made me vomit a lot, because I guess I had my stomach was pumped. They said they got everything out that was a danger that very night. Usually the stuff gets digested. They were able to get everything out of my system that night. Usually the stuff is already in your system after a few hours, because usually you have to get treatment right away. It took like 3 hours, like I said, to find me, because I fell asleep around 2 o'clock. I don't even know how they found me, but they found me. But anyway, the next thing I knew, I couldn't even pee, because the next time I saw my dad was visiting me. He's like, I know you got a lot of other problems right now. I couldn't even pee. They had to put like a catheter, which is like a tube they shove down your pee hole. It kind of hurt, but I was just like breathing like heavily at the time, and it's just like breathe. I wasn't even screaming or anything. I was just like almost like it like wasn't like a shot though. It was just like ugh. Because I couldn't pee. They had this condom thing on me, but I couldn't pee. Like I was too embarrassed to do that, and I just couldn't. Like I just didn't have the energy. I'm like, I just can't. I wasn't able to make any bowel movements, any other like sperm movements until, later next week too. So all that other stuff, all those other body functions, I couldn't do until the next week. Like when I was at that mental hospital, because I was sent to a mental hospital too. That was where I spent the most time, by the way, the mental hospital. Because St. Rose, I was at St. Rose Hospital on St. Rose and Eastern, and then they got sent to Seven Hills, but more on that later. I was told at St. Rose the whole time I was on a legal hold because the police, they filed the thing where the hospital basically owned me until I was no longer seen as a threat to myself. Basically, I didn't have any rights anymore to me. I was basically watched everywhere I went. I had somebody in the room because, they didn't know. And I had the IVs. I had 2 IVs. One was right here, this mark right here. That's the IV tape. I still can't wash it off because I'm showering, but I still am not able to wash it all off. And then I had one right here. And they was always taking my blood. I was always getting, different things in me. Getting different blood tests. They were shots. I couldn't even eat until Friday because they were only putting stuff through my system. It's a miracle that I got out of it too. So I got a text right now. It's a long time. It's a half an hour. I don't even know if this is even gonna get on YouTube. Probably have to separate this video. But anyway. I'm gonna cut it off there. I'm gonna let you know the mental hospital stuff on the next video. Actually, yeah.